Hello, welcome back. Oh my goodness, you are in for a treat today. I have the lovely Anna Brambilla with me from Time Maximizers, as well as a couple of other places which we're going to get into. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
So, could we start with talking about your entrepreneurial journey? Because, like most of us, it's not a straight path. You have
True.
three companies now. So yes, how did you get started moving from where you were to where you are now?
Oh, that's such a fun story. So, about 8 years ago, I was sick and tired of working for other people. I was sick of the bosses and, the vagaries and all that stuff. And I said, there's got to be a better way. So I thought about starting my own company and went down the path for about 2 seconds and said, this is really difficult. This is not easy. And discovered franchising as an option. And so ended up buying a franchise called the Entrepreneur Source, and the franchise is designed to help people explore franchising as an option. And I did that. I loved it. I loved that it was a business in a box, and it came to me, and it was great. But there was a lot of admin stuff that was going on that I could not stand. And I don't like admin. And my philosophy of life is that you should do what you're good at and ask somebody else to do everything else because more than likely they're good at that. And so discovered through a variety of ways, discovered the Filipino VAs, and they're just amazing. It's a wonderful win-win situation. So I started a small business, fully trained, managed virtual assistants, working for other entrepreneur source coaches. And that's just taken off. I've now got a team of more than about 15 virtual assistants supporting more than 50 coaches with the entrepreneur source. And so it's just been a phenomenal thing. And this summer started thinking, what else is out there? And I just so love the power of having a virtual assistant to maximize your time, pun intended with the new company, Time Maximizers. But I have seen firsthand myself and so many people, not just people at the Entrepreneur Source who are using a VA, but people, coaches and friends who have a VA, and they just realize how much more fun being a business owner can be because you have somebody else doing all that stuff for you that you don't want to do. And my philosophy in life is always win, win, win. And so for me, the idea is that the coaches, I work mostly with coaches, but consultants, solopreneurs, they they can find somebody to do all the stuff that they don't want to do. So they can focus exclusively on doing the things that they want to do. The virtual assistants, I've developed a method and a process so we have zero turnover, which is not heard of among agencies and a lot of agencies. And along the way, I make some money. And so what I love about what Time Maximizers does and what life does is how can you find a way that everybody wins? And that's what I've started Time Maximizers. Even though Time Maximizers itself as a company is fairly new, I bring more than 5 years of using VAs, and my team has more than, I think it's like 10 or 15 years combined experience of hiring and managing and recruiting VAs. So,
Amazing. And we really connected over that, the win-win-win, because
yes,
that's the beauty of business, right? It makes me so happy. And that's what I teach a lot is that when we have an offer that really actually solves the problem,
yeah,
then that solves the problem. And then there's results, there's referrals. It's better for you. It's better for, everybody wins. And that's business done right. So, Terry, we'll get into what Time Maximizers is in a little bit, but what specific challenges do coaches or solopreneurs face that lead that, would want them to, that would lead them to go and find a VA?
so I don't know of a single coach who got into coaching to do admin work. Every coach, and I'm sure you know this too, every coach that I know of got into coaching to make a difference in the clients' lives. That's what they got into for it. And along the way, they're finding out that there's a lot of admin stuff that needs to happen. You have to, uh, send out the contracts to your clients. You have to follow up. You have to do your social media. You have to do your accounting. You have to do your stuff. By the way, working from home, so you might see a cat who ignores me 99% of the time until I get onto a Zoom call, and then of course has to be all over me.
Okay.
So I
That's all
apologize.
right. Cats and
Like,
children, welcome. We're totally fine.
yeah, have a seat. Thank
Oh,
you.
here we go.
Um, so my philosophy in going for any kind of coaching or any kind of profession, do the things that you love to do and that you're good at. So that's how that's when I hired a VA. Only I can coach my clients for the entrepreneur source. Only I know what to say, how to support them. Anybody else can send out the contracts. Anybody else can send out the email reminders. Anybody else can send out the LinkedIn. And there's people who love to do that. I'm not one of them. And so, what my philosophy behind Time Maximizers is to help the coaches do what they got into coaching to do, which is to help people and talk to clients and make a difference in their lives. That's what they got into coaching for. And then the VAs want great paying jobs where they're supported and appreciated and are using their skills and can work on their time and to do the things that they want to do, knowing that they're also making a difference in the world. And along the way, I get paid to help do that matchmaking, which is just, it's such a powerful thing for me.
So good. So, what kind of VAs do you typically recruit? Is it like the all-rounder that, like, where do people start if they're a coach or they're a practitioner, or they've got their skill set? Because a lot of the people listening will be freelancers or be looking for their business idea and about to start it based on their interests. How do you know what you need? Because I hired wrong initially. How do you guide people through that? Do they need a marketer? Do they need a general assistant? Do they need a clone of themselves? What are they looking for, Anna?
About hiring VAs is that they're, at least in the US, paying them in dollars. It's usually about $6 or $7 an hour. So for that price, you can get a team of people to help you out doing various different things. We specialize in the admin, general EA, executive assistant type of thing. That's the person that we specialize in. But we also do stuff like social media people. We've got some great social media VAs. So we're just completing a second search for a bookkeeper accountant. So we have people who can do that. Graphic designers. Oh my God, we've got some phenomenal graphic designers. So I mostly help people who are looking for a VA to do administrative stuff. A coach usually knows when they need somebody. They say, I've got all this stuff going on. I need somebody to take it on. The coaches that we work with have more of a set process. It's not just, I don't know, it just gets done. The coaches that we work with are a little bit more advanced down the process, no pun intended. And what we do is we can say, okay, what is it that you do on a daily basis? Let's come in and help you do that. The coaches that are just getting started, who've never been coaches, probably aren't ready for a VA. I think they need to go through the process. They need to go through everything. They need to figure out their streamline. How do they do things? When do they do things? What does it look like? They need to develop their voice. Once they're at the point, however, that they're ready to offload that, that's when we can come in. Typically, what we do is we just have a general conversation with the coach. What is it you're looking for? What's your pain point? What's keeping you up at night? What's keeping you from doing the coaching that you want? What's keeping you from having the lifestyle that you want? If you're in the office at 10 o'clock at night and you want to be home with your family and your kids, what does that look like? What are you doing? So we talk through all of that stuff, trying to get a sense of what is it that you're doing? And then from there, we can go on from there. Again, most of our clients start off with sort of a general VA, administrative, executive assistant, but we also have a lot of clients who I said, are doing graphics or social media or accounting or bookkeeping. Does that answer the question?
It does. It sounds like either you already know what you need, or it's a general VA to do the admin. And that's what I normally recommend as well, is someone to do the operations kind of thing.
Yes.
And because that is something that you can outsource to anyone, where not anyone, but a lot more of a scope of people will be able to do those tasks rather than try and find a clone of yourself to outsource that work. But I guess they need to decide what their role in the business is, right? Or what they want it to be. Because sometimes I've had clients who go from practitioner to CEO and then realize, actually, I really hate being a CEO. I really want to be a practitioner. And they hire a business manager. And so I think, like you said, you either know or you need someone general to just do all of the busy work, the copy pasting, the emails, the contracts, someone to keep you organized. My EA is the one who tells me when to do things and bosses me around.
Yes, exactly.
Like, no, you have to do this thing today. Okay, thanks.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
So tell me, I know you have a very thorough screening process to make sure that the VA that you're getting for your clients are going to be the right fit, or as much as possible, right? We're still people dealing with people, and people are going to people. So what does that screening process look like? How much can you share? I'm not sure how much is secret and how much is open.
No, it's pretty, I won't go into all the details because it's a 20-step process. And what I like about our process is that we do all of the screening. So we take our VAs, potential VAs, through a series of steps to really make sure that they're motivated and engaged and want to work. It's not just, okay, I think I'm going to be a VA today. Some of the things we take them through, we give them a DISC assessment. We give them, we test their technology. We test their English skills, because we work almost exclusively with English speaking coaches. We test where are they located, because there's certain parts of the Philippines that are beautiful, but don't have consistent internet and electricity. We test they go through several interviews. So we screen them so that the coach who's looking to hire a VA just has to interview. They just have to show up and have an interview, 2-3 candidates, typically 3, and then they choose the best one. And that's what the nice part is about Time Maximizers. We're not an agency with a panel and you got to charge markup. We do all the screening. We do all the planning. We do all of the setting up the interviews. You just tell us when you're ready to interview. We set it up. We attend the interviews. You choose the top one. And then you and your VA are off to the races. You get to do things how you want to. So there's no markup. There's no round robin. I mean, I'm sure if you've heard of VAs, you've heard of all kinds of horror stories about, the longevity and the markup and all that stuff. So
what is the secret then for the zero turnover? I don't know, what is it besides you being absolutely lovely to work for? But
I credit it completely to my chief operating officer of Time Maximizer. She's on the ground in the Philippines. And that is still somewhat proprietary because we're going to be in the process of rolling that out. But what it is creating a sense of community. And that's one of the things that Time Maximizers in the next month or two is going to be rolling out, our new sense of community. How do the VAs work together? We're going to create best practices. One of the things that I highly encourage people to do is just pay a little extra So every time I pay the VAs in the Philippines, they give me their invoice and I add another 5% just off the top. Just give them a 5% raise every single time. That little extra is not a big deal for me. If I'm paying somebody $7 an hour, right, it's going to be an extra 35 cents an hour. For me, it's not a big deal. For them, it means all the things in the world. Pay them on time. I pay them immediately. I get the invoices, and unless I'm in the middle of the sea somewhere, I try and pay them immediately. Give them bonuses. 13th month is a very common thing in the Philippines, which means you basically give your employees, if they're the equivalent of a full-time employee with us, we give them equivalent of a full month's salary in December. VAs who are working on a contractual basis don't expect that, but if you give that to them, they love it. They're so appreciative. Like anybody else, they want to be appreciated, right? You know, if you go and you have a boss and the boss is like, "Yeah, whatever, you're awful. I can't stand you. Get out of my face." You're not going to be very impressed with them and you're going to be leaving to go, you're going to be looking for a new job. If the boss says, "I appreciate you. Here's a little extra bonus. Here's some more work for you." Whatever it is, you're going to be much more engaged. So it's a combination of a lot of things.
Yeah, because I do hear a lot of horror stories about VAs just disappearing off the face of the, like, never contacting again, even in agencies, not showing up for work that day. And then the agency owner is left going like, I
Yeah.
don't know, sorry, like horrible for everybody. And so, yeah, thank you for speaking to that. And I agree, right? We want to really give our team incentive and give them what they want. And if we're giving our team what they want, then why would they leave? And I think
Exactly.
sometimes we don't, or we forget to get to the bottom of that and we plug a business hole and we don't also say what are you looking for, or what do you want out of it, and have those conversations up front. So I think maybe that 20-step screening process is a big part of it, actually.
I think so too. And the references we do. And the thing that I've seen is that what's different with time maximizers versus an agency, time maximizers, you're hiring, we're just the matchmakers. We just come in and help you find the right person. And we'll screen them very thoroughly, but you get to, it's a connection thing and it's a chemistry thing. But once you hire that person, you establish that relationship with that person. So it's the coach and the VAs working together. And that's very different from being some nameless, faceless company that's paying your salary and you just come in and sort of do your rote thing. We have found by really getting the VAs engaged with the coaches and what we do and why we do it, the VAs want to help. They want to step in and be part of that vision and that mission. And so if you as a coach can really encourage that in your VA, I think you'll find you'll have tremendous, tremendous longevity in the relationship with them.
Yeah, it all comes back to relationship, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, what ideally do the first 3 months with a VA look like? Because again, I have made some. When I look back, when you look back over your career and go, what in the world made me think that was a good idea? Like not having a role, but just being really busy. I mean, like just come and take this and take that, and then being surprised when they didn't actually do a good job because
Yeah,
they had no idea what good looked like because I hadn't told them. So
right.
ideally, like don't do that. I learned from that early, don't worry. But what do the first 3 months with a VA look like ideally?
First 3 months are getting to know you. They're getting to know you, you're getting to know them. What's their personality? What's your personality? Again, the more that you can work with them to have your systems in place, that makes things easier. Um, we've made the decision right now as a company that we're not going to take on the clients who are looking for a VA, who's like, I don't know, I'm just overwhelmed. I just need somebody. Because you're asking that VA to read your mind. And I haven't met a VA yet, or anybody who can read somebody's mind religiously and consistently. So don't have them read your mind. To the extent possible, try and write out your day. What does that look like? Even just a broad outline, or as you're going through, use a Loom video. That's what I used a lot. So use a video to show how you do things. What's your step by step? It's in your mind typically. It's like, okay, I have a client and this is the steps that I need to take the client through. First this is, and then the contract, and then that, and that, and that, or whatever it is. So the more of you have that, that helps a lot, obviously. Um, cut each other some grace, right? Because it's a new relationship, and it can be a very intimate relationship, especially after you guys work together. So cut yourself some slack and understand. Try and set expectations, and we talk about that. That's one of the things that we give our clients, is a handout on what is it like to work with a Filipino VA. I'm American, obviously, and we've got very strong personalities and very strong ways of doing things. The Philippines is a completely different culture, and they've got their strong ways of doing things. And so we hope to make that integration, and we give you some tips and tricks on that. Be patient, and over explain. The VAs that I love, that I work with, are wonderful people. They're terrified of doing a bad job. So over explain how to do things again and again and again. We like to use, any of the channels like Slack channel, or we use WhatsApp to communicate, because that's really helpful, because then you can have, they can go back. But to the extent that you can, Loom or Zoom or whatever you want to do, videotape yourself going through the process, so that the VA can go back and refamiliarize themselves with that. You don't have to have extensive, lengthy standard operating procedures out there. We've got people that we can refer to that for you if you want that kind of organization and things like that. But the more that you have, at least in your mind, sort of a general process, that's going to be easier for you and for them, and then be willing to videotape that. And that's going to be great too, as you grow your team and need to bring on new VAs. That's how you can do that and train them. And that's something that we do a lot too.
Yeah, I totally agree. A video and a checklist is like the magic combination.
Yes.
Because,
Yes.
yeah, I just handed over a lot of stuff to one of our new staff members, and one was a very complex procedure, like, I don't know, maybe 100 things, and
Wow.
only one video. And like, she did it perfectly. I'm like, this is the best. I never have to do that again.
Yes. They're great. They're
Yeah.
phenomenal. And again,
Yeah.
especially if you have your computer up and you can show, okay, now you click here, now you do this here, now you said this here, they can go
Yeah.
back and read that and review it as many times as they need to.
Yeah.
And it's really helpful.
Yeah. So I repeat a lot. I was like, I don't care how long it takes. Like, just go
Yes.
slow. That's fine. So I love the over explain too, because I think when you know something, you think that you explain it really well, and there's often a lot of gaps. So that I think that over explains a really great tip.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the cultural differences, because I know that's something that often holds people back. So what are some of the things maybe you've experienced that have come up, that have been things you've had to work through, or what are some of the main tips that you give to your clients?
Understand how the hierarchy is. And you, as the boss, have a lot of power and are seen very positively. And they don't want to make you mad. They don't want to make you upset. They don't want to get things wrong. And so you want to work with them in as warm and as friendly environment as possible, and explain, hey, I know you're new at this. I know that this is just learning. I chose you for the right person, for the right reasons, and you're the right person for me. The more that you can do that in any environment, but especially in this kind of environment, that's better. Um, Really give them time, like you said, take as much time as you need to work through things and feel free to ask questions. They're not going to ask questions oftentimes because they're afraid that looks like a sign of weakness. But tell them, please ask questions. I'm here to ask to answer questions. When you have to give them feedback that they didn't do it quite right, do it gently. It's not the kind of thing like, I can't believe you did that. I mean, you shouldn't do this with anybody, frankly, but in America, it's a little bit more common. But I really like how you did that. That's really terrific. And this is a small change I'd like to make. Or, hey, you know what? I realized that on my video, I didn't explain that well enough. Let me go back and explain that a little bit more. Or, you know, I don't like, I'd like to see this done a little bit differently. Just to give you an idea, with my second business, the team of virtual assistants that are supporting other entrepreneur source coaches, we've seen we do a lot of marketing on LinkedIn, and we've seen a tremendous drop off in the response rate on LinkedIn. And there's a lot of reasons for that. It was the summertime and various things. My VAs were so upset that they weren't getting the responses that 3 of them decided to get together. One of them drove an hour each way to this other woman's house. Somebody else drove 2 hours each way just so they can collaborate and get together and help each other and give each other best practices.
Oh my goodness.
You
picked some good ones, Anna.
I picked some good ones. Well, I credit my COO over Hannah over in the Philippines for helping us that. But if you engender that kind of culture of supportiveness and encouraging them and really being grateful for what they do, they want to work hard and they want to be appreciated. And if you pay them just a little bit extra, it's not rocket science. It's just called being a good boss, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I do have to warn my team that I'm not good at the buttering up. So in the interview, I'm like, I really appreciate you and I'm busy and I'm just going to be direct. I'm never mean. I'm never like a how dare you. It's just normally the factual, like we didn't do this or this was, and so they know up front, and I do try because, I don't want to be so direct, but sometimes.
Well, I mean, we're all busy people.
Yeah.
We're business owners, right? And it's totally normal. My suggestion is, in the beginning, you're asking about the first 3 months. In the beginning, really focus on that.
Yeah, I agree.
I've had so many VAs who are terrified of me. I found out later in the beginning because they thought, oh, she's this, powerful coach and da-da-da-da, and she's my boss. And, but if you establish that relationship and establish, hey, we're both learning about each other. We're trying to figure this out. This is a new relationship. And if you understand that and can bring those together and work together, you're setting the foundation that's ultimately going to allow you to not have to be so flattering.
Totally. And there's lots of like appreciate yous and thank you. Like there's lots of love being sent as well. Because I do every time. I'm like, yes, like.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Like you said right at the start, it makes it fun being a business owner. Yes. It's so true. It's so true. When you get the right person in the right role, it's just like, I find, because I had a hole in my business maybe a month or so ago, and like I mentioned, I hired somebody new, and that it's like, oh, like every day is now like, oh, this is fun again, because we plugged the hole. So that's why I love what you do so much, because it really is that win-win-win, and it makes such a difference. And then we get to have the freedom back in our business, which for me is so important. I mean, I've got my 4 young kids, and everyone has their own version of what their why is in their business. And that freedom, at that time, freedom was the main one for me.
Yeah.
And then if you don't have the right people to support you, you don't get that. And you if you want the money to keep coming in, you're tied to your computer. And that's like horrible. Then you begin to resent it, and then you're like, it's probably just easier to get a job. And like, but the right person in the right role. And by outsourcing to the Philippines, most people, like so many more business owners can afford this, right? So like
Yes.
$7 an hour. So what is that? Like not even like $1,000 a month or something. I can't do the
Depends.
math.
Yeah. But yeah, depends on how, and that's the other thing
Or how many hours, right?
yeah, you can, how many hours. But a couple of things that you brought up are so important. First of all, don't underestimate, I just recently gave, a couple of months ago, I gave all my VAs a $50 bonus, each of them. And it was unexpected. And my manager, Hannah, my COO, told me later, she's like, it came at the right time. School was just starting and there's all those things. And they didn't expect it. $50 for me was nothing compared to all the value that they bring to my table and how much they help me with and all that stuff. But for them, it meant something so much. So if you can do that, that helps a lot. I was listening to a podcast recently, and I'm going to blank on the name, of course, because now that I'm thinking about it, I blank on it. But she was asking a very successful entrepreneur, multiple seven figures, doing some amazing stuff. And somebody was asking her what her biggest investments were. And she said things like training and, coaching and reading and things like that. She says, but my best investment was my team. And by putting the team in place and having the right people, you get to focus on what you want to do and what you're good at. They can focus on what they want to do and are good at, and everybody soars. But yeah, it can be difficult. But that's one of the things that I like about time maximizers is that we know where to find the good people. We know how to screen for the good people. We know how to recruit the good people. We know who's going to be a good fit so that you can avoid all that and you can get somebody great on your team without spending literally 10 or 20 hours to find somebody good.
Yeah, it can, and even longer, Anna. I think that's conservative because one of my clients was looking for, what was she looking for? Someone to help with systems or automation, like back end kind of structure. And she put an ad on Upwork or one of those sites. I think she had like, I don't know, 40 or more applications. It's just like this, like they all look qualified. Like what am I going to do? Just go through every single one. Luckily, I was able to refer her to somebody that I've worked with previously. And of course, if we can get referrals, that's going to be great. And that's not often possible for a VA type position. So what are some of the mistakes that you see people make when they're hiring?
Well, there's a lot of different mistakes. Expecting them to read your mind is one thing.
I think I've made all of these.
Yeah. Not setting clear expectations. What does the end product look like? Not giving them good enough specifics on what to do and how to do it. Not setting the expectation that they can ask questions, right? You need to set that, hey, this is a new relationship. This is new to you. Be honest with them, that tell me if it's not clear. Tell them too that this is my first time hiring a VA. I don't know what I'm looking for. I say also be clear. Don't get a bright shiny object. I mean, some people are phenomenally charismatic. Doesn't mean they can do the job very well, frankly. So work with time maximizers. We can help you figure out exactly what you need to do and what kind of person you're looking for. And it's one thing I think Hannah does particularly well too, is really figuring out the personality match, because there is a lot of that too.
Well, that's a real gift.
Yes. Oh, she's phenomenal. I can't imagine. I tell people she walks on water, which she does. But again, she's a VA who is phenomenal and doing amazing stuff. And I'm not going to share her salary here because that's not my story to share, but she is such an integral part of my businesses, of all of my businesses, that when you find the right person, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah. And it can be that phenomenal person. You don't have to compromise on quality when you're going to the Philippines or you're going offshore. I think a lot of people really have this stereotype or this stigma that's around, oh, I'm paying less, so I'm going to get lesser quality. No, there are phenomenal people at every range, and that's the beauty of a global marketplace, is we get to leverage different people in different ways based on what the business needs and what their gifts are, and all of that. Like, personally, I've got staff all around the world, Israel, and like so many different places,
Yeah.
because we get to pick globally. Isn't that
Yeah.
so exciting? I love
Oh,
it.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Well, one of the things I couldn't agree with you more about, I'll admit to my own bias.
Mm.
For time maximizers, I was attending a conference a couple of weeks ago, and I needed to have some graphics done. And I was thinking, okay, I have to find a US based graphics person. They're going to charge me, gosh, minimum $50 an hour. And it's going to go back and forth and it's going to take forever. But this is worth it. So I mentioned offhand to Hannah, hey, I need some graphics done. She goes, I got it taken care of. The next thing I know, she's introduced me to this wonderful woman. And I sort of said, yeah, I kind of have this broad range idea. Literally, I don't know, a couple hours later, I went to bed and I woke up in the morning and she had 5 different designs that were phenomenal, gorgeous, beautiful stuff, absolutely lovely. And I said, okay, I like this. And, so many of us are better editors than we are creators, right? We're so better
Yeah.
at looking at something and saying, let's tweak this, or I like this, I don't like that. And they just did a phenomenal job. I mean, if you look on my website, a lot of the graphics that you see there are done by my VAs. My logo is done by my VA, and I paid them a tiny fraction of what I would have paid a US based person. And it's the win 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 just makes
Yeah.
me so happy. And again, like you
It keeps
said, they're all
moving.
over the world.
Yeah. So, how can someone prepare? You mentioned that if you're really getting started, you're probably not in a good position because you don't
Mhm.
know how to tell them to do a good job, which I
Right.
think was probably one of my problems. But how do they prepare? Do they need to have everything set up, or do you support them through that in meeting with them?
Yeah, so my role, the way that our process works is you having a conversation with me or one of my team members, but typically somebody based here in the US, because we understand the coaching role a little bit more and have more of a sense of the nuances of the coaching. So you meet with me and have a conversation about what it is you're looking for. What do you want the VA to do? Do you want administrative? Do you want this? Do you want that? And I'm listening for personality. I'm listening for context. What are you trying to do? How are you trying to do it? How set are you? And what's your experience with hiring a VA in the past? Has it been really good? Has it been awful? Or has it been? I've heard great things about VAs. I know I want one, but I don't know where I want to start. So I listen for that. You don't have to by at all have to have everything laid out, okay? And then this happens and this happens and this happens. I don't know anybody's like that, especially if you're a busy entrepreneur. Good luck. If you are like that, then you're a better person than I am. But you have to have a general sense of your flow. How do things go? We do ask our coaches that we're hiring, helping them find VAs for, we do ask that you have a general sense and that you sort of compartmentalize the different tasks. So we ask for admin, versus social media versus, say, website management and things like that. So it's different skill set, different price point, just different people. And it's hard to find somebody who's going to do everything for you. So we do screen for that. Most of our clients coming to us for a VA are looking for a bit more admin, and we get a sense of how streamlined are your processes. And it's hard, you can't define it. I'll know it when I see it, the client that says, I don't know, I'm just pulling my hair out, I don't know what I do, it just gets done. Okay, well, let me introduce you to one of my partners over here who's going to help you sort of refine this processes. If they say, no, I've got sort of a general idea and it's sort of this, great, we can help you with that. But we might give you a more experienced VA who has a lot more experience in those initial settings. cost more but you're getting more experience. If they're like, no, I've got it dialed in. I know exactly what I need, how I need it, when I need it, how that goes, great. Then we can get you somebody who's more of an entry level VA. So that's part of our matchmaking because I truly believe that I'm a matchmaker, that I love connecting people and resources. I don't do the dating stuff. That's above my pay grade.
Oh, that's so good. But we spend more time with our work people than we do with our partners normally anyway. Isn't
Oh
that
yeah.
like a little bit sad?
Yes, I
but
know. I know.
but true, but true. That's so good, Anna. I know again, I know how difficult it is to find the right person, and
Yeah.
the fact that you're offering this and you've got your system and you know how to refine a lot of the conversations that I have with new entrepreneurs are around how to hire and what to look for. And my system is nowhere near as robust as that. So I can definitely learn something from you, and or I can just refer them, which is perfect.
I love it.
So
The other thing I just want to mention, excuse me for interrupting,
no.
is Time Maximizers offers a 90-day guarantee. So if the
Mm-hmm.
VA that we've screened for and you've interviewed, God forbid, doesn't work out within the first 90 days, we'll be glad to replace that person for free. So just wanted to put that little plug in there too.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's important, right? Because again, once you start that relationship and start working with someone, sometimes you need to get a little bit down the road to say, okay, there's just these
Yeah,
consistent things keep happening.
yeah.
Yeah, so important. Thank you for all you do, Anna. Is there anything that we missed that we need to talk about?
Oh, if you're thinking about it at all, let's talk.
Yeah.
I bet you there's not a single coach or entrepreneur out there that doesn't know somebody who loves their VA
Mm.
or has heard how powerful a VA can be. And so, if that's you and you've got a decent sense, certainly not dialed down to the smallest detail, but more than just, I don't know, just all gets done, let's talk and let's see
Yeah.
if we can help you find a VA that's really going to maximize your time, but make you fall in love with your work again. That's the big thing, too.
Yeah. Seriously. And I think I think sometimes we can think we're not ready, or like, oh, we'll just get that next client or we'll just get that next thing. But what we don't realize is that people actually equals profit because it frees you
Yes.
up to do things. So
Yeah.
yes, you're paying your VA salary, but that's not like just into a hole. That frees you up to go and make whatever you make per hour. So you actually make money, and maybe not in the first week, right? You're going to need to train them up, and yes, it's going to take time to train them, but then you teach them once, like in that video. Often the videos, I've got the VA on the line and we'll go through it together and they can ask questions and it's all recorded. So you teach them once
Yeah.
and then it's done. And then you don't have to do it ever again. Yeah, you might take an hour teaching them a 10-minute task, but that 10-minute task is never on your plate again.
Exactly.
Ever. So you're probably ready before you think that you're ready. So if you're on the fence or you just want to know if you are ready, then book a call with Anna. I'll put the link under here. It's timemaximizers. No, it's not. It's maxyourtime.com.
Max
I
your
nearly got it
time.
wrong. I
Yes.
nearly got it wrong. I don't have it in front of me. It's maxyourtime.com, but well, I'll put the link there. You'll be able to see it. Thank you, Anna, for all you're doing in the
Thank
world.
you so much. And
So much.
let's love what we do again. Let's
Yeah.
just do that.
Yeah. And have fun and have the time freedom to do the stuff
Exactly.
that we want to do. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you again. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for your generosity today.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
I look forward to it.
Bye.
Thank you.